Yo, what's going on, everybody? Welcome in to another episode podcast to talk about our favorite team, the Arizona Cardinals. Huge shout out to the people that are currently in the chats. We got Mr. King Plumtree, we got Mason, we got Naeem, we got Chance, we got Intercepting Fist. Michael, I see you up there. Trash Boat, what's up, y'all? Appreciate you guys for being here in the chat. Do me a huge favor, smack up the like button here on your way in, ladies and gentlemen. Today we got a lot to talk about. Have to do with obviously the breaking news that ended up dropping a little earlier today. And not just that, we got another one. Yes, we got another name thrown into the mix for Arizona Cardinal fans to either say yay or nay. But overall, just to kind of talk about to see where the state of the Arizona Cardinals are right now. If you're watching this live and you're in the YouTube chat, I have a big question for you. I got a question for you in the YouTube chat, and it states this: how are you feeling about the Arizona Cardinals coaching search so far? Your options are: I love it, it sucks, or it's right, could be, or it's all right, it could be better. Make sure you go ahead and cast your vote because I'm going to go ahead and close up this poll probably within the next 10 or 15 minutes. I want to kind of get a gauge of where the live chat is at when it comes down to this crop of coaches that the Arizona Cardinals are either requesting an interview, already interviewed, or TBD on the interview. It just hasn't happened yet, right? So we got a plethora of different names to obviously talk about. I think for the most part, everybody already knows who those guys are, but this is a exciting time, obviously, for Cardinal fans because something new, right? I just don't think that in a world where we kept Jonathan Gannon for 4 years or the fourth year, there just wouldn't be an excitement. There wouldn't be excitement talking about 2026. Like, let's be real here. But now that we have potential, now that we have a potential new head coach at the helm, I do believe there's a lot more optimism surrounding the Arizona Cardinals, specifically with the young core pieces that we have. And hopefully, fingers crossed, they're utilized to the best of their ability. But let me go ahead and do a real quick shout out here to the sponsors of the AZ Sports Fan here on YouTube, the guys that are keeping the lights on, and that's going to be none other than Sleeper. Proud sponsors of the AZ Sports Fan throughout the entirety of the 2025 season. The NFL season is here, which means you now have a chance to 100 times your cash on daily fantasy football. Pick on stats for stars like touchdowns, passing yards, and receiving yards, and fantasy points and more for up to 100 times the payout on Sleeper. Get your picks right, and you can win big. Use promo code AZSF. You can get up to a $100 deposit match on your first initial deposit. Terms and conditions do apply. Everything will be in the description below of the video. And if you don't think it gets any better than that, then yes, it does. They'll give you a free $20 just like that. No deposit needed. Make sure you check out Sleeper. Proud sponsors of the AZ Sports Fan here on YouTube. Everything will be in the description below of the video. All right, ladies and gentlemen, let's talk about it, right? Let's talk about it. We got word by Albert Breer, I believe of Sports Illustrated from SI, that the Arizona Cardinals are indeed, they have another name to kind of get thrown into the mix for another requested interview by the Arizona Cardinals, right? Shout out here to Albert Breer for obviously providing this information. And I believe Jeremy Fowler retweeted it and it kind of went everywhere. So let's talk about it. Jeff Hafley. Now, I want to kind of get a gauge on where this chat is right now. And I know all subscribers aren't currently in the chat, but for you guys in the chat, right? I'm just so curious to figure out where you guys are at right now when it comes down to the current coachings or the coaches that the Cardinals are potentially going to bring in. Now, I am going to give you my list ranked 1 through 5 a little later on in the stream in terms of the coaches that I would love to see the Arizona Cardinals bring in. And I'm talking about coaches that have interviews or that has ties with the Cardinals. Spoiler alert, John Harbaugh won't be there. Spoiler alert. Spoiler alert, Mike McDaniel won't be there, right? Because we haven't reached out to him. Once we do, obviously the list changes, but we're going to be diving into that a little later on. So Jeff Hafley, defensive coordinator of the Green Bay Packers. This to me feels like one of those moves where it's just like kind of out of left field. I don't think I personally haven't heard of Jeff Hafley myself. I know that when Micah Parsons was there, and their defense is pretty solid. I'm not going to come out here and sit here and say, oh, the Green Bay Packers defense wasn't like it was bad, because it wasn't. It was a pretty solid defense, primarily when Micah Parsons was there. That was a really, really good defense over there. Now, it seems like this coordinator job that he has this year, this is his first time he's been a defensive coordinator. Where actually he was hired in 2024, so he's been a defensive coordinator for 2 years, 2024 and 2025. And obviously, if he doesn't get hired, he will remain the defensive coordinator, at least as far as I know, for 3 years. But every other year before that, it's been either a defensive back coach, a co-defensive coordinator and defensive back coach. He had a head coaching position in Boston College from 2020 to 2023, and he spent some time in college as well, either Rutgers, spent some time here in is it Albany as well, WPI. So it seems like a guy that it might be a little, what's the word? Like, I don't know 100% how I feel about it. Like, obviously, we're not going to make videos about breaking news. The Cardinals are bringing in the next best guy out there, right? No, I don't think that's the case. I think the Arizona Cardinals put in requests from multiple different offensive slash defensive coordinators to attempt to flip over every stone, right? So, Jeff Hafley, 46 years old, been in the NFL for quite some time, but bounced around from the Cleveland Browns to the 49ers to the Packers, and then the earlier days, Bucks. And it seems like maybe a little bit in Pittsburgh as well, at least what I can see here, but also was a head coach at Boston College for, was it 4 years from 2020 to 2023? So I don't know. I don't really know too much to think about this. I really want to kind of get a gauge on where you guys are at right now. I see a Leo already in the chat saying Harbaugh. Oh, yeah. We'll talk about that a little later on. We'll talk about that a little later on. We got Jay in the chat says he's all right. Okay. I mean, I, what I'm trying to avoid this cycle, well, actually, I'm trying to avoid a couple different things. Or I guess one, I'm trying to avoid the Arizona Cardinals from being the last team from picking out of this crop of coaches in this coaching cycle, right? I don't want the Cardinals to pick the last. Now, if they're not the first, I guess it is what it is, right? But I do not want them to be the last because that just means you're kind of left with who you have, right? And of course, the Arizona Cardinals will sell it as saying things like, oh, we wanted this guy anyway. We were targeting him anyways, right? They'll sell it the way that they're going to sell it. But I don't want the Arizona Cardinals to pick last. Now, obviously, it depends who's there. Now, what we know right now is the Arizona Cardinals have already met with multiple different, or not met with, I'm sorry, let me clarify. They haven't met with a lot of people, but they have reached out for potential interviews with multiple different coordinators and defensive coordinators, right? Right now, the list is at 8 different right? 8 different guys that the Arizona Cardinals have met with so far. So, out of those guys is going to be obviously 49ers defensive coordinator Robert Saleh, Broncos defensive coordinator Vance Joseph, which has ties with the Cardinals already, right? Dolphins defensive coordinator Anthony Weaver, Seahawks offensive coordinator Clint Kubiak, Patriots passing game coordinator Thomas Brown, Chiefs offensive coordinator Matt Nagy, former head coach for the Falcons Raheem Morris, and now Packers defensive coordinator in Jeff Hafley. I'm just going to keep this short and sweet. I'm going to pass, right? I'm going to pass on Hafley. I don't know if he's going to make it in the second round of coaches. I mean, I could be wrong, right? He can blow the socks off of Monty Ossenford or Michael Bidwell. I just hope not. Because, like I said, I kind of agree with the chat right now. How are we feeling about the coaching so far? I mean, for the most part, everybody in the chat is saying it's all right, but it could be better. I'm kind of right there as well. But this is the first week. So I'm going to give a little grace period here for obviously the Arizona Cardinals because there hasn't been links or a specific report saying that the Cardinals have interest in Harbaugh. Although Adam Schefter did come out, right? Adam Schefter did come out and he did say that at the time when he spoke with his agent, John Harbaugh's agent, that every team that was looking for a head coach at that moment, I believe it was 6 before the Ravens ended up firing or parting mutual ways with Harbaugh, All those teams reached out. So if we want to be speculative, right, or just kind of speculate, then yeah, I think there is a world where the Arizona Cardinals most likely reached out. So for what it's worth, there is that. But another thing that we do know as well is that the Arizona Cardinals will not be able to interview or schedule an interview until next week because John Harbaugh and his team said so. They're not taking any interviews right now. It's all going to be next week. So that's what we're waiting for. That's what we're waiting for right now. So right now, Cardinals continue to schedule, continue to do what you do. But right now, my top dog, my dream scenario might be unattainable. I get it. Dolphins just got rid of Mike McDaniel, which we'll talk about in a little bit. And then obviously the links of the owners and the Giants and Harbaugh, it does seem like a perfect fit, or at least the ties are there. But there's that. I'm still keeping dreams alive. I'm still keeping hopes alive, though. Let's talk about this. If you guys do not know or didn't watch my earlier video, Mike McDaniel was fired by the Dolphins. Now, we've already seen multiple reports come out saying, oh, this is not because of Harbaugh. Oh, no, this is not because of the Harbaugh at all. We just decided mutually to part ways. We just thought it was best for the organization to part ways. I don't know about that. I don't know about that. I do believe there is, what's the word? I don't know how to say this. I think that there is somewhere on the underline that the Miami Dolphins somehow think that Harbaugh can be attainable by them. I really do. And of course, let's be real. We all kind of heard the rumors before anyways, because people were already linking midway through the season that Mike McDaniel could be the next offensive coordinator if Gannon if Gannon stays, right? Because there was a lot of people thinking like, oh, Gannon's going to stay regardless, right? So everybody's like, okay, what offensive coordinator can we bring? And everybody's like, oh, Mike McDaniel if he gets fired, right? Well, now he could either be a head coach or he could be an offensive coordinator. But guess what? These names, these coaches that get fired like that, they're not going to be on the market for a very long time. They're not going to be on the market for a very long time. If you guys do not know, the Detroit Lions have already contacted Mike McDaniel, probably his team, maybe not Mike McDaniel directly, but they already contacted his team and or him that if he was interested in the offensive coordinator position with the Lions. So, things are starting to move really, really fast. Really, really quickly and really, really fast here in the world of the NFL. I'm okay with the Cardinals waiting until next week. I'm okay. Because believe it or not, there might be some new coaches that get fired next week. There's some people that really believe that Mike Tomlin might get the axe. I don't know. I'm just going to put that out there, right? There was rumors before. Now it all kind of came down to week 18. Baltimore Ravens got eliminated. They moved off of Harbaugh quickly. But then there's also the rumor of Tomlin. What if they are, again, a one-and-done team in the playoffs again? What if that happens again? Do they get rid of Tomlin? I don't know. But that is pretty smart for the Cardinals to kind of wait and sit back and see exactly who can be available after the first week of the playoffs. Because you never know. You never know how it's all going to shake out. So there's already interest in Mike McDaniel. And there should be, right? Especially on the offensive side, like the offensive coordinator position, there should definitely be a lot of interest when it comes down to Mike McDaniel. He's a really good offensive play caller. He's a really good offensive scheme. It works in the NFL. It works in the NFL. And for what he's done with Tua Tagovailoa, bless his heart. Bless his heart. Because honestly, there was a little bit of a moment where I'm like, oh, he might stay with the Dolphins. He just might. But John Harbaugh becomes available. Regardless of what the Dolphins are saying, they probably think that they have a slight chance to bring him in. Now, I'm going to jump into my next talking point, right? What the Arizona Cardinals can potentially do, because I did make a video about this a little earlier, right? This right here is what I would love the Arizona Cardinals to do. Now, I do believe that the 49ers are going to get booted off this weekend. I don't think the 49ers are going to beat the Eagles. I really don't. If somehow there is a world where the 49ers get booted out this weekend and we can actually schedule those interviews with Robert Saleh, I think the Arizona Cardinals need to jump on the opportunity quickly. Because the connection that Robert Saleh has and Mike McDaniels have, they've been with each other for a very long time. They're under the Kubiak tree, and I'm talking about Gary Kubiak, not the son, not Clint. Gary Kubiak. They're under his tree, and they're under the Kyle Shanahan tree as well. What a perfect world. What a perfect world to be if you were to bring in a said Robert Saleh as your head coach, right? Because let's be real. Right now, there's more interest in Saleh to be a head coach as opposed to Mike McDaniel as a head coach. Now, he just got fired this morning. So things can change tomorrow. Things can change over the weekend. We might hear people saying, I want you as a head coach. But what we know right now, at least per the reports, is that the Lions have already reached out to him about an offensive coordinator position under, obviously, Dan Campbell. But if we can get Robert Saleh as the head coach when the 49ers get booted out this weekend, because I strongly do feel like they're going to get booted. Now, if they don't, that's on me. I don't know ball, I guess. But I do think they're going to get booted out this weekend, out of the playoffs. I think the Eagles are going to beat them. We get an opportunity to hopefully interview Robert Saleh next week. Hopefully things go well, and Cardinals like it. Seems great, and match made in heaven. But the next big question is, who are you going to bring as an offensive coordinator and a potential defensive coordinator? That's kind of the guy under you, right? Because I've said this before. What's equally important to me is bringing your coaching staff. Bringing your head coach. But what's equally important is bringing the guys under, right? Those other teachers that are going to be helping the defense. They're going to be helping the offense. They're going to be helping the special teams. You got to have a lot of connections. You have to have a lot of connections in the world of the NFL. You have to. Because you got to be able to build a really good staff. And this right here is a dream made in heaven for me. Now, of course, Harbaugh is the actual dream, but I get it. People always say to me, that's a pipe dream. Cardinals aren't going to do it. That's a pipe dream. Don't even say things like that. Okay, well, if that's a pipe dream and Harbaugh is really not attainable because maybe he might go to the Giants and maybe he might go to the Dolphins, Saleh as your head coach and offensive coordinator be Mike McDaniel. I'm down with that. Now, of course, that raises the question, well, what are you going to do with Kyler? That's going to be for them to decide. That's going to be for them to decide what they want to do. But regardless if they're in on Kyler or if they're not in on Kyler, regardless, I still do believe the Arizona Cardinals need to plan a world without Kyler in the near future. No, I'm sorry, not in the near future. This year. It doesn't have to be a first-round quarterback, but maybe a second-rounder, maybe a guy that they truly believe in, that they can actually develop. That can be a thing. Now, in my opinion, do I think Kyler's coming back? I really don't. I really don't think Kyler Murray's coming back. But of course, when you're bringing in an offensive guru and an offensive mind that has a really good scheme in Mike McDaniel, you at least want to humor the fact of, hey, he might actually be able to run that offense, right? But I think this is the perfect time for the Cardinals to kind of part ways with the quarterback that's owed a lot of money and potentially could get as much draft capital as we can. This is the most value we're going to be able to get from Kyler right now. So, do I think he's coming back? I don't. But like I said, it's not my decision. It's going to be theirs. If whoever the new head coach is going to be. But this right here, I'm just talking coaching staff. This is my dynamic duo, I guess. Dynamic duo, I guess is the best way to say it, right? I would love for them to be in an Arizona Cardinal coaching staff in 2026. I feel like that would be absolutely amazing. Now, I'm going to give you my rankings of coaches that I want from 5 to 1. That's what we're going to do right now. Now, please keep in mind, these are only coaches that we have interviewed with, at least reported interviewed with, right? So, of course, you're not going to see John Harbaugh here. Of course, you're not going to see Mike McDaniel here because there's no reports that we've reached out for an interview with them, right? So please keep that in mind. Now, this is an order from 1 through 5, and it is in specific order. We're going to start from number 1, who I would like the Arizona Cardinals, by ranking to be the next Arizona Cardinals head coach. Let's start with 5, Matt Nagy. Now, like I said, if John Harbaugh meets with us, Matt Nagy wouldn't be here. Simple as that, right? But like I said, from the already reported names out there, this is what we're going to go with. And before we do that, smack the like button. We got over 80 of you guys right now in the YouTube chat. Smack the like button, ladies and gentlemen. Appreciate you guys for being here up and foremost. Also subscribe, on the road to 19K. So my number 5, Matt Nagy, offensive coordinator of the Chiefs. He's here because obviously the head coaching experience that he once had with the Bears, at least that kind of helps. There's a lot of people coming out here saying that, oh, that does help, right? Because usually when you're a head coach and it doesn't work, but you get that other opportunity, it does really well for you in the second time around. I wouldn't want to touch Matt Nagy with the 6-foot pole if Harbaugh was here. He wouldn't be on my list. But because of the player or the coaches that we have, I guess the list that we have to pick out of, this is the list that I have. So Matt Nagy's my number 5, offensive coordinator of the Chiefs. Number 4, Vance Joseph, defensive coordinator of the Broncos. Now, I do believe Vance Joseph deserves another opportunity at a head coaching job. I really do. I think he's done enough in Denver for him to solidify another. And he's got ties with the Cardinals as well, right? When he was the defensive coordinator with Cliff Kingsbury, he was solid. He was pretty solid. Now, let me preface what I'm saying. I do believe he deserves an opportunity as a head coach. Just not with us. Just not with the Arizona Cardinals. I just feel like there's a lot of things that needs to be sorted out. And throwing a guy like Vance, I just don't think Vance is going to be the guy to right the ship, right? But I do believe he deserves to be a coach, just not here. But like I said, this is my list with the guys that we've already interviewed per reports. Number 3, Raheem Morris, former head coach of the Atlanta Falcons. Dang, in 2 years, Raheem Morris already had more wins than our head coach in 3 years in Jonathan Gannon. He had 16 wins. He was solid. And what the Falcons did in the end part of the season was actually pretty darn cool, right? You ended up seeing them beat a lot of good teams. You saw them beat the Rams as well. You don't beat a team like the Rams and you got to give credit for that. You really do. That's a really, really good win by the Falcons. And not just that, how many Rams fans truly thought that they were going to get a top 10 pick? How many Rams fans truly thought they were going to get a top 10 pick with that Falcons pick? Now, they'll still take a top 15 pick in a heartbeat, right? And they got one. They got the 13th overall pick, which is their first round pick that belonged to Atlanta, but because Atlanta traded up last year, it now belongs to the Rams. So the Rams hold the 13th overall pick, and they also own wherever they land in the playoffs, right? Wherever they land in the playoffs, if they get booted out quickly, if they go deep into the playoffs, it's just going to really determine on how far they go in the playoffs. But they got the 13th overall pick from the Falcons. And honestly, Raheem Morris, like I said, he did really well for the Falcons. He was winning. Unfortunately, it just wasn't fast enough for the Falcons to retain him. Number 2, Clint Kubiak, offensive coordinator of the Seahawks. Now, I think I can ask everybody in this chat right now. I think I could ask everybody in this chat right now. And I think you will either have, for the most part, all your responses either being Clint Kubiak or Robert Saleh. Am I right or am I wrong? And I'm talking about the coaches that we are quote unquote linked to, right? Of course, John Harbaugh will be in on everybody's list, but let me know in the chat. Who's your number 1 guy? I almost promise you that everybody in the chat is either going to say Saleh or Kubiak. I don't think anybody's going to say Nagy. I don't think anybody's going to say Vance Joseph, right? I don't think anybody's going to come out here and say Thomas Brown. I doubt anybody. I think right now, the top 2 guys that everybody kind of got their eyes on is either going to be Saleh or Kubiak. Look, let's be real. Now, if the reports start shifting that the Arizona Cardinals request an interview for Harbaugh next week, because that's when they are going to be accepting interviews next week with Harbaugh, then, of course, this list gets changed up. Then everybody gets moved down a notch. Saleh goes to 2, Kubiak goes to 3, Vance Joseph goes to 5, and then 1 is going to be Harbaugh. Now, Mike McDaniel. Do I want him as a head coach? I don't. I don't. But as an offensive coordinator, yes, in a heartbeat. In a heartbeat. I would take McDaniel in a heartbeat as an offensive coordinator. I just don't think right now he's ready to go from head coach to head coach. I just don't know if he's built enough. What's the word? I guess built enough. I guess just in general with the Dolphins. I don't think he's built enough quite yet. I mean, I could be wrong. I could be wrong. There's what 8 openings now, right? There's 8 open like head coaching positions open. So maybe he does. Maybe he does. But if I were to have it my way, like I said, if I were to have it my way, it would be Saul as your defensive coordinator, and your OC would be Mike McDonald. Mike McDaniel. That will be my perfect dream scenario. Now, Anthony Weaver, which is the defensive coordinator of the Miami Dolphins, he's gonna meet with the Cardinals, I believe, in tomorrow, if I'm not mistaken. He's gonna meet tomorrow. But I don't have Anthony Weaver here on my list. I really don't. Naeem in the chat says, we need Malik Willis. Okay. Digital in the chat says, yes, McDaniels at OC. Yeah, I agree, right? And what I asked you guys a little earlier, look at Junior saying Saleh. Got a Kubiak right here. We got a Kubiak right there. We got a Clint right there. That seems to be the consensus right now. The top 2 guys that people are out there saying, if they get Clint Kubiak, I'm happy with it. I'm happy. Of course, I favor Saleh a little bit over, but like I said, whoever the Cardinals decide to get, as long as it's not like a Jeff Hafley, no disrespect to him, no disrespect to Jeff Hafley, but as long as it's not a Jeff Hafley, I'm okay. Obviously, my top 3 right now, if reports came out that the Cardinals are scheduled an interview with Harbaugh, it will be Harbaugh 1, Saleh 2, and Clint 3. But if I get my 3, I'm cool with it. I'll be cool with it. I've said this once and I'll say it again. Ain't nobody had Jonathan Gannon on their list last cycle. Nobody had Gannon in their nobody had Gannon. Nobody had Gannon in their short list last cycle. We were stuck with them. We had to get our GM in January. Super Bowl ended. A lot of the good head coaches kind of got picked up already. And we were left with Gannon. We said, oh, okay, Super Bowl. Okay, bring them on in. We were kind of stuck with Gannon. So now I'm just hoping that the Arizona Cardinals are going to be one of the, I'm not going to say first, but if there's 8 coach vacancies right now, I'm hoping we're like the 3rd or 4th. I'm hoping. Realistically, we'll probably be like 4th or 5th, but just let me hope. Just let me hope. 3rd or 4th is what I'm aiming for right now to potentially get our guy. We'll see, though. We'll see how it all shakes out here at the end of the day. I want to give some love on over to the chat here. You guys have been very, very patient. Let me go and give some love. We got Fishbowl in the chat. What's up, Fish? Fish says this. It's hard to believe this organization will ever do anything right. So we can fast forward to the part where we hire a bum at coach and another losing season. Yikes. Dang. I mean, I get it. I understand it. I get it. There's a lot of people that right now, I think there would be a lot more people feeling the way that they're feeling if they kept Gannon in year 4. But I understand it. I really do. The narrative of the Cardinals is not they want to win. They want to do everything in their power to win, right? That's not the narrative. That's not the stigma on this organization. It's you've been here since 88 and you had what, 5 or 6 winning seasons? It's not very good. So I get it. But here is a time to be a little, I guess, positive. And I guess you do what you want, I guess. But for me, obviously covering the Cardinals, I'm going to lean on a little side of optimism. Now, if I do start seeing people get plucked off and the Cardinals just sitting on their hands, and they end off with somebody like Anthony Weaver, or Hafley, then at that point I'll be a little like, oh man, what are we doing, right? Oh man, what are we doing? But I'm going to lean a little bit of optimism here. We got over 105 votes. My question to you guys in the YouTube chat is, how are you feeling about the coach search so far? 34% says love it. 17% says it sucks. And 49% says it's all right, but could be better. Okay. Let's end the poll right there. All right. Perfect. Appreciate you, Fish. Thanks for the comment. Yeah, there's going to be a lot of question marks right now. A lot of question marks surrounding this organization, right? A lot of questions surrounding this organization. Rick in the chat says, we get the right coach and coordinators, this can be a real exciting. I agree. And that's the thing. I agree too. Call me foolish, call me blind, call me optimistically up the yin yang. But yeah, I do believe it, man. I really do. Now, I'm going to say something here, but don't cook me in the chat. Ty Simpson coming out helps out the Cardinals. We don't know if Dante Moore is coming out, but if he does, that helps out the Cardinals. And then Fernando Mendoza, he most likely will come out, which helps out the card. Any chance you can get a plethora of different quarterbacks coming out that are seen as first rounders or potentially late first round picks, that helps us out. We're sitting at the 3rd overall pick right now, and at least the consensus feels like we're going to go after a young guy. That's what it feels like, right? Now, I know a lot of people want Dante Moore. Some people want Fernando Mendoza. It takes 2 to tango, though. It takes 2 to tango. At the end of the day, if we can't get a deal with the Raiders, which, let's be real, the Raiders aren't a quarterback away, but they're going to do what they do, right? And let's be real, the Jets are the Jets. They've taken a lot of early quarterbacks that haven't really worked out. Now, those quarterbacks, I would add Sam Darnold in the mix. I would add Zach. What was his name? I forgot his name. Zach Wilson. Wow, I completely forgot about Zach Wilson to the mix. That didn't work out. They were first round quarterbacks to the Jets. And I saw a lot of those big national episodes or those big national shows like Speak Up or Undisputed. I don't even know I don't really watch them, but you see clips obviously on the internet. There's a lot of people saying, "Oh, if Dante Moore sees the Jets at number 2, he better not come out." That's kind of messed up to say, especially if you're a Jets fan and feel a little deflated. But it's kind of true. I mean, to be real, it's kind of true to be real with you. But I know you could say the same thing for the Cardinals, right? Rosen didn't work out for us as of late, but I think Kyler Murray is a much better quarterback than any of the quarterbacks that were chosen from the Jets under the Jet regime. Now, yes, Sam Darnold right now is looking really good, so I'll give him credit to where credit is due. Pretty amazing there. Pretty amazing. There you go. Yep, Wilson. I whiffed on it. I completely forgot about his name. Rick in the chat saying Fernando Mendoza is a no-brainer. I agree. I agree. I think that if the Cardinals were sold on the fact that that's our guy, they need to call the Raiders and see what they can do to probably flip Kyler. I don't know if they'll take it. I don't know if they will, but that's what I would do. Dank in the chat says Saleh, head coach, McDaniel's OC. Yeah, exactly. That's my mindset too. That's my mindset too. Where are you guys standing on Willis? Because I'm seeing I see my guy in the chat, Naeem, in the chat is saying Malik Willis would be nice, and he would be the best fit for Marvin Harrison Jr., Michael Wilson, and Trey McBride. How y'all feeling about Malik Willis? I know probably a couple weeks ago, more people were on the train of Malik Willis. I feel like they kind of died down a little bit. I saw something on Twitter, and I don't know if it's true or not. It might not be, but somebody said Malik Willis is going to get like $40-50 million a year. I was like, that's crazy. That's crazy. But even thinking about it, would you guys pay Malik Willis like 30 a year? Would you pay Malik Willis 30 a year? That might be what he's going for. If he's probably your best quarterback with the highest potential in free agency, he might be going for 30 a year. Now, 40-50 is crazy. Like, that's crazy. But do you really see Malik Willis going for 30 a year? That's a lot of money. That's a lot of money. there's a lot of teams that could potentially be in a quarterback. That's why I'm always saying, man, like everybody's like, oh, Kyler Murray's not gonna get traded. Kyler's not gonna get traded because of his contract. Come on, man. Like, there's a lot of teams. Just look around the NFL. They can use a serviceable quarterback like Kyler. Kyler's a top 15, 16, 17 quarterback in the NFL. He can win you games. And if you put a better scheme that fits him, he could probably be up there again. But obviously, that's a decision that they're going to make. I don't think the Cardinals are going to get a first round pick for Kyler, but maybe a day 2 pick. Maybe a day 2 pick. So, yeah, I'm just curious. A few people here in the chat pass on Malik. Okay. For the most part, I think the chat is kind of, like I said, it was a little more hyped earlier. I would probably say the hype was real with Malik Willis probably about 2 weeks ago. But I feel like that's kind of died down a little bit. Is that Dackle? Right? Hopefully I didn't mess that up. Dackle 99. Mendoza is seen as the second coming here in Miami. Watch him at Columbus High. Kid has a really good head on his shoulders. I like Mendoza. I really do. Now, obviously, I got on the Mendoza hype train probably the last 4 weeks, 5 weeks after the regular season of the college season came to an end. Because obviously, right, like when you have bad football, it's kind of like what you have to look for. You have to kind of look at the new prospects that are coming in. So I've been on the Mendoza train for a little bit, right? For a little bit. But yeah, man, I agree. I think he's going to be a really good player. Now, obviously, everything has got to be, they got to help him out. You got to just throw him into the fire and say, "Oh, help us out." But yeah, I do like Mendoza. I also do like Dante Moore as well. There's a lot of naysayers on Dante Moore. But for me, if Dante Moore comes and he's a Cardinal, my hope would be that he's sitting at least for the first maybe month. Have him learn. Unless he truly, and I mean a true quarterback competition comes out and our coach deems him as you beat that veteran, then okay. If you think he beat the veteran, then cool. But I'm not trying to give somebody a job if he doesn't deserve it. But he's got a lot of potential. A lot of potential. Andy in the chat says, should we go after Mike McDaniel? The only way that I would, right? Like I said, obviously I'm not Monty Ossenfort, but the only way that I would go after Mike McDaniel is at an OC position, offensive coordinator. I made a video a little earlier about kind of my dream scenario, the affordable dream scenario, I might have to add, because obviously the real dream scenario is Harbaugh, right? That's the real dream scenario. But I would take Saleh at head coach. I would take McDaniel as an offensive coordinator. Hell yeah, I would. 110% I would want to go after him, but he's not going to be available for very long. The Lions are already trying to poach him. The Lions have already reached out to him and his team right now. So we got to be careful. I get it. We need our head coach first. I'm hoping the 49ers get booed out of this, the college playoff. Oh, sorry, not the college. The NFL playoffs this weekend, right? I'm hoping the 49ers get booted out this weekend because that just kind of opens up. Okay, well, now we have Saleh now available. Doesn't have to focus on the playoffs, and we can interview him now. So we'll see. Right now, I'm doing a real quick search to see if there's any new news going on in the world of the NFL, obviously pertaining to the Arizona Cardinals. If there's any other names kind of getting thrown out there for the people that are just joining in, there's only one real new name to kind of note as a potential interview for the Cardinals, and that's going to be Jeff Hafley, defensive coordinator from the Green Bay Packers. This is the only one right now so far that we've gotten. Now, did you guys see Cliff Kingsbury? You see Cliff Kingsbury? There's a lot of people that are in, or there's, okay, not a lot, but there's 2 teams that are considering bringing Cliff Kingsbury in for a head coaching position. And those teams are the Ravens and the Titans. Good for Cliff, man. Good for Cliff. That's all I got to say. Good for Cliff. Honestly, Cliff Kingsbury was a good dude. Jonathan Gannon was a good dude. It's just, it didn't work, right? Not personal, business at the end of the day. That's all it is. It's business. But yeah, Cliff Kingsbury is also, his name's getting kind of thrown around right now. He did part ways with the Washington Commanders at the OC position, but they got the Ravens. scheduling an interview with them, and as well as the Titans. So good for him. Good for him. My name in the chat says Kyler needs to leave the state of AZ ASAP. Dude is a cancer. I mean, I don't know. I don't know him personally, so I don't really know in terms of if this is actual factual or opinion or anything like that. But I do think that he's not coming back. But I see people's opinions out there, and I respect it. Right, I respect the people's opinions out there that are saying that the head coach should be given the opportunity if they want to keep Kyler or not. Because I do agree, they should be given the opportunity if they want to keep Kyler. I just don't know how Kyler is viewed with the new head coach that we're going to bring in, right? Um, and also, too, on the other side of the coin, if you're a new head coach coming in, and if you're adopted Kyler, right, you bring him in, you're kind of expected to win really quickly, like really fast. You're expected to win. So if you were smart, you would say, no, let's get rid of Kyler. Let's get more draft capital, right, and pick a young guy and help that guy, right? Help that guy get better. Develop that guy. No, I'm not going to come out here saying that I'm going to settle for a 3-win season next year. No, I'm not. But it does give a little bit more wiggle room when it comes down to those those coaches, right? You got to think of all these little intricacies that comes along. So if I was a new head coach and I wanted the longest tenure I can, I would move off of Kyler. But I get it. I get the intrigue. I get it. We all want to live back in 2021. We all want to live back in those days when he was MVP Kyler. It's just we haven't seen it in a very long time, and now injuries are starting to kind of pile up. Because I do think that there was an injury sustained. I just don't think it took that long for him to get healthy. I could be wrong. Opinions, right? But we'll see. Superman in the chat says, get rid of all the coaches and general manager. Well, all the coaches are gone. So your wish has come into fruition. Your wish is coming to the fruition because all the coaches, including Jonathan Gannon, most likely are gone from the Arizona Cardinals, right? I doubt the new head coach wants Petzing. I doubt the new head coach wants Rallis. I'm curious to figure out what's going to happen with Jeff Rogers because he was the offensive coordinator when Gannon came in before, right, under Cliff Kingsbury. So I'm curious to figure out if he's going to stay or not. But general manager Monty is staying. That's one thing we know. He's staying. Rick in the chat says, I trade Kyler for a ham sandwich. I mean, if we can get some compensation, obviously that's what we're looking for. But we'll see. We'll see. Andy in the chat says, I don't know if Michael Bidwell will be willing to pay big for Harbaugh. Well, that's the big question, man. That's the big question, right? Because now you have the Giants. There's a lot of links to the Giants. And you see the Dolphins make a move like that. They just got rid of Mike McDaniel today. And they came out and they said, oh, no, it's nothing to do with Harbaugh. Nothing to do with Harbaugh. I'm pretty sure it has a little. Even if it's like 5% chance it has to do with Harbaugh, I'm pretty sure there's a little bit of chance it has to do with Harbaugh. Rav in the chat says, Petzing staying would be something the Cardinals would do. True. But if you bring Saleh in, if you bring Kubiak in, I'm pretty sure they got their own guys, right? You form relationships. Like, that's the NFL. You form relationships. But I get it, right? It would be something the Cardinals would do. You have to stay with Petzing. He's just the best thing out there. Yeah, that's crazy, but you ain't wrong there. Another coach, Flores, man. Like, I'm so surprised Flores hasn't been reached out to yet. I'm so surprised Flores hasn't been reached out to. I get it. I say this all the time because anytime I bring Flores up, anytime I bring Brian Flores up, it's like, oh, he's not coming. The lawsuit. Michael Bidwell's involved with the lawsuit, or he's got something to do with that lawsuit that's happening, right? Everybody, I get it. I understand. I get it. But still, Flores, from what he's doing over there with the Vikings, is really good. It's really awesome. I would get Flores. I really would. But the affordable dream option right now, Saleh, Mike McDaniel's the offensive coordinator. Sign me up. Michael in the chat says, Petzing stays, we riot. I'm down with that. I'm down with that. But I want to be very clear, right? Just because Saleh's my number one on my rankings of coaches I want doesn't mean that I want to be happy with Kubiak. I'll be happy with Kubiak. I really would. I think there might be a lot more Kubiak guys than Salah. Actually, what I'm gonna do is I'm actually gonna put a poll question up. When I'm done, probably with like this live, I'll put a poll question up right after, and I'll kind of get a gauge on where everybody's at because I think right now with the guys that are kind of been provided to us, Kubiak and Salah most likely are going to be the ones that are like leading the polls. Like I don't think it's going to be even close. I don't. Nobody wants Nagy. Nobody wants Thomas Brown. Nobody wants Anthony Weaver. Now Jeff Hafley's coming to the mix. I don't think anybody wants him. But I mean, Vance Joseph might have a couple votes. Raheem Morris, maybe because of the head coaching experience, might have some votes. But that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to make a poll question once we're done with this live stream to kind of get a gauge because I feel like that's where the Cardinal fan base is mostly at. Salah, Kubiak. Um, yeah, Salah's leaving, man. I think Salah's gonna get a head coaching job. I really, really do. Now it's the Cardinals. I don't know. But gotta do our due diligence, right? Gotta do the due diligence. Let's read a few more comments here. David in the chat says, I want Clint. Cool. Yeah, I mean, I'm cool with it as well. If it happens, it happens, right? Like I said, these are my rankings of guys that I want. But if Harbaugh comes into the mix, everybody gets dropped down a notch. But we'll see. Something Cardinals would do is to interview Drew Petzing as a head coach. Yikes. Don't even speak that to existence, ladies and gentlemen. Don't even speak that to an existence. Yikes. That would be terrible. That would be terrible. But yes, for the most part, big news that's dropped is this is the latest Arizona Cardinals requested interview. Defensive coordinator for the Packers, Jeff Hafley. So there's that. And then on top of that, earlier this morning, we did see that Mike McDaniel, former head coach of the Dolphins, is now fired from the Dolphins, and he's in the market to become your next head coach or offensive coordinator. So big things happening right now in the world of the NFL, and every day it's something different. Every day it's going to be fluid, I promise you. So if this is your first time here and you stumbled upon this live show, welcome. Appreciate you for being here and thanks for clicking. If you could do me a massive favor, smack the like button on this video and subscribe. We're on the road to 19K. We are under 30 subscribers away, or a little over 30 subscribers away from hitting 18,400. So if you can be that subscriber for me to continue to help me climb to 19,000, that'll mean the world. I appreciate you guys. We're trying to build this community as big as we possibly can, and just positive vibes, man. Good things, hopefully, for the Cardinals moving forward. So we'll see. We'll see how it all goes. Yeah, here we go. Got a first super chat of the day. Dune Buggy 420 coming up clutch with the $5 donation. He's like, nah. He's like, here we go. Take my $5. Appreciate you, man. He's saying this. What do you prefer more? Salah with McDaniels or Kubiak with Raheem Morris? Oh, that's good. Okay, I want everybody's opinion on this. Let me know, chat. This is a great question from my guy Dune Buggy here. I'm going to answer my way. I'm so in on Salah, and I don't know exactly why. Well, I know why. I do know why. The head coaching experience, I believe he's actually a leader of men. I think people will follow him, especially if you have a really good offensive coordinator. I'm going to go Salah and McDaniel, but the Clint Kubiak and Raheem Morris, that's intriguing, brother. That's a good question. I'm going to go Salah and McDaniels. That's what I'm leaning towards. Let's see what everybody else in the chat is saying, because this is a good question. I never even thought of this. Ian in the chat says Salah with McDaniels, but it is close. Aaliyah says that's tough. We got Rick in the chat saying Salah and McDaniels. Okay. Salah and McDaniels. We got Kubiak here. Okay. Respect it. Solid. To me, right now, it's Salah and McDaniels. The reason why is because both of them had head coaching experience, and I look at Salah, and I'm like, you can command a defense, or you can command a defense, and you can command the men in a locker room. I don't know what Clint Kubiak has. I think he's got a really good offense. I think his offense is going to be off the charts. And what he's doing with Sam Darnold obviously is something to talk about. It's good stuff. But right now, to me, is Salah and McDaniels. But I'm curious. What about you, Doom Buggy? What you got? What you got? I'll be looking out for your comment here because I'm actually. Oh, here we go. Here we go. Dune Buggy coming up here. Clutch. He says, I like. Okay. Just mainly for the stability of. Okay. I respect that. I respect that. I mean, on the side of the coin where you want to develop a young guy, um, I respect that. I can see where you're coming from. Kubiak, like I said, what he's doing his with Sam Darnold, it's awesome. It's awesome. Good from Sam Darnold. But Sam Darnold, I don't think he's having the same year he did with the Vikings, just because that Seahawks defense is no joke, man. That Seahawks defense is no freaking joke at all. It's really, really good. I did see something in the chat here a little earlier that Mike Tomlin is thinking about stepping. Well, I mean, we've talked about it before. I do believe that it's something to actually look at. I think it's something to actually look at if if um if the Steelers get booted out in the round one. If the Steelers get booted out in the round one of the playoffs, he might get fired too, or they might part ways, just like Harbaugh and him, right? Just like Harbaugh and the Baltimore Ravens. Maybe Tomlin might become available too. Maybe Tomlin might become available too. You never know. You never know here at the end of the day. But right now, a lot of question marks surrounding Cardinals. Third overall pick in the draft. Next head coach. Who is he bringing at the coordinators? And of course, we got our free agency as well in March. So we got a lot of good information. We got a lot of stuff that I'm really, really excited about. Digital in the chat says Tomlin's not going anywhere. Fair. I respect that. Naeem in the chat says we need a QB that can throw over 300 passing yards. We got that. We got that in Jacoby Brissett. I mean, technically we do, but like our defense needs to button the heck up, man. Our defense has been very, very bad. Very bad. I get injuries plagued this season. I get that. But injuries is not a reason as to why our defense was as bad as it was. Our defense has been very, very like not good. So that needs to get cleaned up. So we'll see. We got a lot of young talent though. We got a lot of young talent. We got Will Johnson, Walter Nolan if he can stay healthy. Let's see when Garrett Williams comes back. Same thing with Walter Nolan. We don't know. Like Starling Thomas the fifth, hopefully comes back. He was a really good cornerback for the Cardinals. So I mean, we'll see. We'll see. Yeah, another super chat coming our way. Woo! RC3. He said, just wait just a second. I got you.
Another one.
Another super chat coming our way. He's saying this. With solid Mike McDaniel, you get Kyler and Ty Simpson and Crosby. Kubiak and Raheem, you get a vet, Ty in an O-line, and Hendrickson. Oh, now you're making this complex. So now I got to pick between these guys? With Saleh and McDaniel, you get Kyler and Ty Simpson and Crosby. Kubiak, Raheem Mostert, you get a vet, Ty in an O-line, and Hendrickson. I mean, I feel like this is like Madden stuff, right? It could. That was my guy RC3, right? He would not let me walk away just like that. I mean, O-line's important. O-line's important. I don't know how Crosby can. I don't know how Crosby, and I don't know how Hendrickson is due to be a free agent. Crosby's not. So I don't know how we would get. Oh, well, I guess if Ty Simpson's a second rounder, maybe you can get him that way. And then you trade for Crosby is what you're saying? I don't know. I don't know. I don't know, man. You're stumping me here. Y'all try to get me away from my Salah guy. Right? I'll still go. I'll still go with Salah. I'll still go with Salah and Mike McDaniel. These are really good, man. Those are really good. That was complex. That wasn't easy as there you go, right? Sheesh. But that's for my guy Dune Buggy, man. My guy Dune Buggy. That's a good question. And just like my guy Ian said, we need an O line regardless of the coaching staff. Facts, man. Absolute facts. We do need a coaching staff or a O line regardless if it's Sala or Kubiak. We need an offensive line for sure. All right. So take a couple more comments here in the chat. And then we're going to be closing up shop. Thanks, guys, for being here. If you guys can do me a massive favor, smack the like button here on your way out or on your way in. Also, subscribe. We're on the road to 19K. Can't do it without you guys. Appreciate you guys for being here. And let's read a couple more of these comments. Yeah, Ian in the chat. Yeah, that sounds kind of bad, huh? Pause. Yikes. All right, Digital Dustin in the chat saying Monty definitely has work to do. That's actual, very factual. He does. Rick says, do we want him, though? Who are you talking about? Hendrickson, or are you talking about Crosby? I mean, any of those two guys are down. I mean, we still have never been able to figure out a person opposite side of Josh Sweat or a person opposite side of Chandler Jones. It's almost like we're like, oh, we got one guy, we're good. No, we're not. No, we're not. Keep it going. Alex in the chat says Sala so he can bring in Mac Jones with them. Yikes. I'm not as big on Mac Jones as a lot of people are. I'm really not. If they bring Mac Jones in, that shouldn't deter them away from getting themselves a QB in the draft. Like, if they bring in Mac Jones for like a mid-round pick, right? Because he's not a free agent, is he? You have to trade for him. Let me just double check here real quick. Yeah, Mac Jones, you're going to have to trade for him. He's under contract in 2026. He got some voided out years in 2027. So, yeah, he's under contract, and it's really cheap. That's dirt cheap. 2026, his cap hit is $2.5 million. That's nuts. Former first-round pick, $2.5 million hit the cap for Mac Jones. If they did that, they better still go after a quarterback in the draft. Like, that's not the answer. But we'll see. We'll see how it goes. Agree. 100%. Mike McDaniel should be our first pick for OC. 100% agree. Naeem says Dante Moore and Marvin Harrison Jr. would be great. Dante Moore, Trey McBride, Marvin Harrison Jr., and Michael Wilson. Sheesh. Sign me up for that offense. With Mike McDaniel calling the plays, we might got something there. We just might have something there, ladies and gentlemen. All right, it's that time. We're going to be closing up shop right now. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. I want to make sure I thank every single one of you guys for being here. All the super chatters, RC3, Doing Buggy in the chat, everybody who smacked the like button, everybody who's recently subscribed, thank you. I want to go ahead and say appreciate you. We'll be closing up shop right here. There's going to be content galore coming your way. Content galore. So make sure you have your post notification bell on and make sure you subscribe. And nope, we ain't going anywhere. Not just yet. RC3 says, wait just a second. Let me give you the super chat here. Don't go anywhere, Mike. He just said, yikes. All right, well, let me get you another one. Another super chat coming our way. All right, we ain't dead yet. RC3 coming up here with two of them. He's saying this: Sala wanted Crosby and Raheem wanted Hendrickson at the deadline. McDaniels will help Kyler trade value, and Kubiak will trade for a vet quarterback and an O-line. Gotcha. Sheesh, at the buzzer. Woo. Gotcha. Okay, so you're clarifying a lot, and I appreciate that. Okay, so Sala wanted Crosby. So the links with Sala in 49ers, I did hear that there was some rumors about that. Obviously, it's going to take a plethora of first-round picks for that. And I don't know if the 49ers were in a state to do that, but I respect that. And then Raheem wanted Hendrickson in Atlanta. Fair. Again, this would help Kyler in the trade value, and Kubiak would trade for a vet QB and an O-line. Gotcha. I mean, Mac Jones? I don't know. That's interesting. But yeah. Thank you. Thanks for clarifying. Thanks for being here. Every single one of you guys are absolutely amazing. RC3 with the double banger. Thank you so very much. $5 each. Doing Buggy in the chat as well. You guys are all amazing. thank you again. Hopefully everybody has a fantastic rest of their Thursday. We'll be closing up shop right here. Hey, we got some college playoffs starting in an hour. Make sure you check out those college playoffs. We got some people we might want to look out for in the college playoffs. All right, y'all. Have a great rest of your day, as always. You guys are amazing. Have a great rest of your day, and go Cardinals. Later.